Why is it that in the 21st century, a child's birthplace still largely determines their educational opportunities? A question that resounds as we delve into the state of education in Africa. Picture this: a school in the heart of Africa where children sit on the cold, hard floor, engaged in a struggle to learn. Their uniforms are non-existent and their bellies echo the pangs of hunger. The school lacks the most basic amenities. Clean drinking water is but a distant dream. This is not a tale spun from the threads of fiction, but a harsh reality faced by millions of children across the continent. Bad governance, it appears, plays a significant role in this tragic state of affairs. Consider the case of Nigeria. Despite being Africa's biggest economy, its education system is crippled by poor governance. The country's budget allocation for education consistently falls far below the recommended 20% by the United Nations. This lack of funding has resulted in dilapidated school buildings, inadequate learning materials, and a severe shortage of qualified teachers. With the government's negligence, the plight of Nigerian students, particularly those in rural areas, continues to worsen. Moving further south, we find Zimbabwe, a country once revered for having the best education system in Africa. However, political instability and rampant corruption have drastically reduced educational standards. Funds earmarked for education often disappear into the pockets of corrupt officials, leaving schools under-resourced. In addition, teachers frequently strike over low wages, leaving children without instruction for extended periods. In contrast, let's look at the East African nation of Kenya. Despite making strides in access to education, the quality remains alarmingly low. Corruption, mismanagement, and a lack of accountability have left the education sector in shambles. Schools lack basic facilities and teachers are often underqualified, leading to poor student performance. In each of these cases, bad governance has directly impacted the quality of education. The lack of adequate funding, rampant corruption, and mismanagement are common threads weaving through the tapestry of Africa's educational crisis. To summarize, the state of education in Africa is a reflection of the governance in many of its nations. The lack of prioritization of education in budget allocation, corruption, and a general lack of accountability have led to dilapidated school facilities, inadequate teaching materials, and a shortage of qualified teachers. These factors have culminated in a poor quality of education for many African children. However, it's crucial to remember that this narrative is not set in stone. Education is a right, not a privilege, and every child, regardless of where they are born, deserves access to quality education. It's high time for a change in leadership mindset, a shift from the current state of affairs towards a future where education is prioritized, corruption is curbed, and every African child has a fair shot at a bright future. This is the call of the 21st century, a call that beckons for a reimagining of Africa's education landscape, a call that cannot and should not be ignored.